The Sefer Devarim, the fifth book of the Torah, is where Moshe Rabbeinu basically reviews his relationship with the people of Am Yisrael for the past 40 years, since he came to take him out of Egypt, until now when they're getting ready to enter the land of Israel. He reviews different events, and he reviews the mitzvahs, the laws of the Torah. So there's a kind of a flow from one parsha to the other. Let us analyze last week's and this week's. Last week's parsha was Ekev, which we read this past Shabbos, where the Torah says, "V'hoya Ekev tishmu'un es hamishpatim me'ela." When you will listen to God's command, and God will also keep His promise, His covenant with you. But the word over here is tishmu'un, hearing. Who should hear? Not just your ear, but Ekev, even your heel. As we have explained, it means that a person should be completely permeated. It should affect the person completely with what he hears. I was once experiencing a speech by Rav Kahneman Oliver Sholem. And before he started his speech, he told the people, let us just do some little bit of physical exercise. And he said, go up your hands and sideways, etc. And he has the whole crowd going back and forth doing exercise. Then, as everybody has their hands over their head, he says, you can lower one head completely, but the other hand, put it next to the ear. You can choose which ear you want and which hand. And he says, why? And I want you to keep your hand like this throughout my entire speech, so this way, what I speak should go in and not immediately go out. So Ekev Tishmu'un refers to internalizing what we have heard. This week's parsha starts Re'ei, seeing. And the Torah says, Re'ei onoiche noisi nifnechem hayoim brocha uklala, you should see, I am placing before you today a blessing and the opposite of a blessing. What does the Torah mean by seeing? What exactly are we expected to see? What is the concept of seeing the blessing and seeing the opposite of the blessing? There are three levels in a person's observance of Torah mitzvahs. There's one, plain obedience. At this level, a person is willing to observe the Torah simply because he's aware of God's authority. God said so, I do so. But it's not inspired by an understanding, an appreciation of Torah. Simply, Kabbalah soil, I'm told, I do, period. It's good, but that's not all. It's definitely an important element. The acceptance of the yoke, because that will be unwavering. But yet it is simple. Then there is an intellectual appreciation. This is when a person not only observes the Torah mitzvahs because he just committed himself to doing, but he also intellectual appreciation of the importance of observing the Torah mitzvahs. And he understands the accomplishment, he understands the purpose of having done this mitzvah, which obviously has a deeper impact. But there's a drawback. What is the drawback? Tomorrow I can think differently. My understanding can change. My understanding can, the next day, have questions. And I will look for other explanations. God forbid, maybe will look for completely something different. But then there is the concept of seeing. What means seeing? Vision. When we see something, as the old saying goes, a picture, an image is greater than 1,000 words. So this is not just appreciating the value of keeping Torah because I understand or because I just committed to it. But to me it is so obvious, it is so clear, just like something that I saw that nobody can change my mind on it. There is a halacha that says, Ein ed nase dayan. A witness cannot be a judge. Why? Because if a person witnessed something, he cannot be impartial anymore and try to understand it differently than what he saw. When I hear something, I can change my mind. But when I see something, as the old saying goes, I saw it with my own eyes. Nothing can change me. Nothing can faze me from knowing, from being certain of what I saw. Says the Torah, Re'ei, you should understand, you should know, you should see the blessing. Doing a mitzvah is a blessing, should be so obvious to you that you can actually see it. And that's what the Torah says. After having heard, internalized, the certainty of vision. That's what the Torah says, Re'eh. So please, Eibishter, bracha, he's saying it a blessing. The only and good and ultimate blessing is the blessing of Mashiach. Let's see it with our physical eyes today in Yerushalayim, the Beis HaMikdash, with Mashiach.